the Lee Marlin Spike loop. Hello everybody, welcome back, and today's little knot that I've learnt, and it is a really new kid on the block, this one, is the Lee Marlin Spike loop. And from what I understand, it was recently created, made, discovered by a guy called Alan Lee, and I'll put a link in the description down below where you can see this actual knot being tested on his test rig. And with this one he tests it to destruction. And so yeah, it's worth checking out Alan Lee's site because he does some interesting things with knots in testing them, and that will be in the description down below. Now, the wonderful thing that I like about this particular knot is that it starts off with the Marlin Spike hitch. And if you haven't seen my video on the Marlin Spike hitch, that also I would say is really worth watching, because the Marlin Spike hitch itself, that particular hitch, will turn into so many different useful knots. And once again, I'll put a link in the description below with regards to this one. So anyway, without further ado, let's get on and tie the Lee Marlin Spike loop. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my cordage laid out in front of me, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to tie this knot, the tabletop method, and at the end of the video I'm also going to attempt to show you how to tie the Marlin Spike hitch using the Marlin Spike. The problem is it's not that easy to see on camera doing it. It's something you've got to practice and do yourself. So yeah, for those of you who know how to tie the Marlin Spike hitch using a Marlin Spike, great, you can do it that way. But I'm going to first of all show you the tabletop method of tying this. And what I've got here is the red end is going to be my working end, and it's going to the left hand side, and to the right hand side is my standing end. Okay. It is slightly cord hungry, this one, but the first thing that we do is we need to create our Marlin Spike hitch. And the way that I created the simple method is just to roll my cordage so it crosses over like so, and then roll it again in my fingers and allow it to cross over at the top there. And you can see there now we've sort of almost got a pretzel shape. So let's just move that into the middle. Now that we've got our pretzel shape there, the next thing I do is just bring up, so this is my standing end going here to the right hand side, and I just bring up a small amount of the standing end through that loop that we have now created there. The next thing I do is, there's my working end, so this is my working end going onto my red cordage, and what I do now is I pass the working end underneath that loop that we lifted up at that point there. So I can now draw that up a bit. We don't need too much slack in this. And then just draw it through. And then once I've drawn it through, I take it around the back of everything, underneath everything. And then what I do is I'm coming up on the inside of my working end here, and then just take it on the inside and then tuck it through for a second time underneath that loop, so it's running parallel to the original one there. Such a doddle, so easy, it's tied. And now that we've done that, pull it up, dress it up so that we have it nicely dressed up, and you can see here now we've created a nice loop. It looks complicated because of all the crossing points here, but from what I can see so far on Alan Lee's testing of it, this is a very secure loop. And the other thing is, this is where more testing will come into play. To me, at this point here, once it's been under load, it looks to me that it could be fairly easy to untie, because we've got actually two shoulders here that we can prise apart and then get hold of our cordage and pull it out. But I've only swung off it a little bit. Maybe if you're using heavier loads, it may jam. But if you know, or if you're playing with this one, and I know some of you do, when you've watched these videos, you go and play with them and then you leave me comments. So please do comment down below and tell me about this particular knot, the Lee Marlin Spike loop. Okay, so let's just show you another way of tying this, and let's see if I can actually do it on camera and show you what we're looking for here. Okay, so when we're actually tying the marlin spike hitch, what we do is we get our marlin spike to dive down under our cordage and then up over our cordage again like so. And I'm doing this sort of in slow motion. We then take it over itself so that we form a loop, and then we take it over that right hand end. If I can just do that, I'm trying to watch the screen and do this at the same time, and then bring up, and there we have it. We now have the marlin spike hitch. It looks a lot better and a lot nicer when you do it fairly fast. But now you can see here that I have got my marlin spike hitch tied here. There's that loop. So all we do now is, on what we're looking for here is this. Let me get another pointer. So what we're looking for here is this, that you can see here, this loop here is just running off to our standing end. But on this left hand side here, we've got this crossing over point here, and we've got our lead coming out here. And so what we're looking for now is, and you can see the lead naturally has a tendency to go off in that direction. And what we're doing now is we're going to bring the working end of that lead underneath where the marlin spike was and through like so. And now that I've done that, you can see now here that at this point a loop has been created. But what I want to do is just tighten it up a bit more, get some of this slack out of it. And then what I'm doing now is I'm going to take it underneath everything, come up parallel to the original pass there, and then bring it round back under that loop that we created there with the marlin spike at the very beginning, and then pass it through there. I should have maybe left a little bit more there, and you can see now here that we've now tied ourselves and dressed that up, pull it up nice and tight, and we now seem to have, I say seem because it's still under testing this one, but we now have the Lee marlin spike loop. And from what I can see, yeah, a really secure loop. So please, all of you, but don't kill yourselves doing it, all of you, please go out and test it. Give me some feedback down below, because any feedback that I get, I will also pass on to Alan Lee. And don't forget, have a look at his site where you can see this being tested for strength. Anyway, once again, thanks very much for watching. See you again next time. And if you liked it, hated it, you know the routine. See you next time. Bye-bye.